Hey everybody, welcome to Black History Month. Are you interested in learning about prolific Black leaders and where they traveled or where they moved abroad? Then this video is going to be for you. We're going to get into it talking specifically about Black Americans and where they were traveling, where they went, and we're going to look at some entertainers. We're going to look at poets. We're going to look at authors. We're going to look at civil rights leaders because it is Black History Month. So, first, I want to shout out Culture Travels because a lot of this information comes from them. And I had the idea from them actually to create this type of video. And so I'm going to leave their information in the description box. Okay, in terms of myself, welcome to my channel, Fly Like Me PhD. I am Dr. Maya and I encourage Black women to live or travel abroad. So behind me is this beautiful painting. You all know this is Monica. I sometimes think I am Monica. I wonder where she is. That's where I want to be. Let's also look at my clothing. I have my African earrings in. You all know my favorite color is blue. And so definitely want to celebrate. And then I have this wonderful shirt. And it just says, you know, Black girls matter in terms of nerdy girls and plus size girls, slim girls, light skinned girls, dark skinned girls, weave wearing girls, natural hair girls. Like we all matter. And I don't want you all to forget that this Black History Month. So if you like Black history, please give us a like on this video right now. And I'll give you a second to do so. So in terms of subscribers, we've been doing really well, y'all. I mean, y'all have done what needed to be done. You have come through. I'm thankful for everybody that subscribed. If you're new to my channel, you should subscribe right now because then you'll get notified when I have other videos. So for this video, we're doing a two-parter. The first part, I'm talking about Black women, prolific Black women. And then the second part is going to be about prolific Black men. So if you want to be notified when I'm going to post that video, definitely make sure that you subscribe now. Another thing I want to let you all know is I'm going to be looking at my script. Since I'm talking about these Black leaders, we cannot get their history wrong. So I might have to look up at the script every now and then. No worries. So what I want to say is this video is near and dear to my heart. I've wanted to do this video for an entire year. Last year, I saw this beautiful and wonderful posting by Culture Travels that was like Black women that have studied abroad, and I loved it. I was like, it is so interesting to me. You all know this is a travel channel. And what is more beautiful than bringing Black women that travel as well as were very active in movements for liberation for Black people. So I feel very happy about that. I also wanted to dedicate this video to all of my ancestors that had lost their lives in the fight of struggle, that got exiled from the United States, and that really worked very hard for me to have the rights that I have today. And as Black people, we are very thankful for all of the sacrifices that you all made. So I want to take a moment of silence just for all of the lives that we have lost concerning Black people in the United States as well as globally. Thank you all for that. So in this video, we are going to be talking about 7 Black women who were revolutionaries. We're going to talk about the backlash and the criticism that they received. Some of them faced irreversible consequences on their struggle for freedom. And in this video, so I've been listening to what y'all say. Y'all know I listen to the comments and I listen to people's critiques and ways to improve. Y'all keep being like, Maya, where the videos at? We want videos. We want pictures. I got you. This is my first video with pictures. So I heard you. We gonna do some pictures today. So I'm gonna talk to you about who the Black woman was, what her contribution to society was, and where she traveled and why. So if you love, respect, and honor Black women, please give this video a like right now. I also am a person that loves to read. You all may know this. I have a video on 12 recommended books that I have for you all regarding travel. So I'm also going to recommend some of the books of these Black leaders if there was a book that I read. I didn't read all of their books, but I did read a few of them. So I'm going to mention that to you all as well. All right, so our first Black leader is going to be Angela Davis, who was born in Birmingham, Alabama. Angela Davis was born Angela Yvonne Davis, and she is a political activist. She is a feminist. She is an author, and she is still alive today. So Angela would be what we consider a living legend. I had the pleasure of being in the same room with Angela, y'all. Fun fact, I was not able to meet her, but for Black History Month, she came and spoke at the university that I attended for my PhD. So I was like 20 feet away from her. Angela, amazing talk. You know, we can't thank you enough for the contributions that you have made to the US and globally. Like, you are so incredible. So let's talk about her history. So she was a part of the Black Panther Party within Los Angeles, and sadly she was put on FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive list because she was accused of kidnapping and murder due to the people that she associated with at the time. So she fled California. She was captured or arrested, and then she was jailed for an entire year. Thankfully, Angela was acquitted of all charges. As you all know, she is still alive today, and she will go on to be a university professor. Thank you, Angela, for your sacrifice. I also forgot to mention, you all, the shirt that I'm wearing is from My Pride Apparel. So I will put that in the description box in case you would like to buy more and support a Black business, or if you want to see what other things that they are selling. Back to Angela Davis. So in terms of travel, she was in Cuba and she was there for an international speaking tour, and the former leader of Cuba, Fidel Castro, acknowledged Angela as a member of the Communist Party delegation in 1969. So here they are pictured together. Finally, I recommend that you all read Angela Davis's book, Freedom is a Constant Struggle. I am going to have in the description box a link to my other video, which is 12 recommended books. I did not put her book on the recommended list because it is a little heavy. It's really talking about like the oppressions that different groups face all over the world. And so I don't want you to have to read that while you're traveling, but it's still a very, very good book. So if you want to read it, it's a free PDF link to read the book. It is an incredible book. I wanted to let you all know that I actually was in Cuba as well, and I got this stone from Cuba. I think it's really, really beautiful. They had a ferry, or a feria, forgive me, where they were selling so many things. It was just incredible. They had so many souvenirs, so many beautiful cultural items in Cuba. Like, they have some really, really beautiful souvenirs. I came back with a whole piece of luggage full of stuff. So shout out to Cuba and shout out to the souvenirs. And if you all get the chance, you should definitely take a trip to Cuba. Now, I know that the US and Cuba have had some conflictual relationships, but you can get into Cuba. It's just that you have to be there for a specific reason. And the reason I went was to support the Cuban people. So I was there supporting local businesses. I was there eating at restaurants, you know, living amongst the people. So just definitely want to support that. My sister was there through her undergraduate program, and so she took me there to like see her host family and all the things she had done when she was in school. Our next leader is Assata Shakur. She was born in New York City, New York, and given the name Joanne Chesmart. She was a part of the Black Panther Party as well for a short stint, and during her time in college, she changed her name. So Assata means she who struggles, and Shakur means the thankful one. That's how we get Assata Shakur. Unfortunately, Assata was convicted of murdering a state trooper in 1973 and was arrested. She would go on to face intimidation by officers using weapons, and she was publicly beaten in a courtroom during her trial. While she was in prison, she was able to escape in 1979 and was also on the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. She successfully escaped from jail and was granted political asylum in Cuba, and she still lives there today. Here are some photos. So Assata is also a living legend. Assata also had a friendship with Afeni Shakur, who is Tupac Shakur's mother, and she is known as his godmother. So shout out to Assata, and she was one of our many leaders that was exiled, could never come back to the United States. But she is still out there. She is still there. She wrote this wonderful book called Assata, is self-titled. I read this and it is just an amazing book. It is incredible. It's very, very sad though, because it really talks about how law enforcement beat and mistreated her publicly, privately, just really trying to fight for her rights. She is the definition of a revolutionary. She was like, I'm not going down without a fight. Like Assata, so incredible. So definitely check that book out if you all are interested in learning about her history. Our next leader is going to be Coretta Scott King, who was born Coretta King in Alabama. She's known as a civil rights leader and an activist and an author. She will go on to become Coretta Scott King after she married Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Coretta was able to sing, so she was able to use music during her marches and protests and throughout the civil rights movement. After her husband's untimely death or assassination, she became really concerned with the women's rights movement and became a member, and she continued to fight for racial equality. Coretta is no longer with us. She passed away in 2006. But regarding her travels, she traveled in India with her husband in 1959 for approximately a month, learning about leaders and culture. And here is a photo of her and her husband in India. I will be discussing her husband in my next video. My part 2 will have MLK. In terms of India, I wanted to let you all know that I also was in India for about a week and I had a wonderful time. I went to a wedding in India. It was so beautiful. I mean, the colors, the food, the culture. I remember the woman that got married, she had to, bow down to her grandmother and ask for her blessing. And I just thought that was so beautiful, like recognizing your family members in a public space. It was just incredible. And I absolutely loved that trip to India. So if you all have the time, going to a wedding outside of the US can be really incredible to learn about culture and to just see the different customs and ways that they celebrate like signature events. So our next Black leader is going to be Josephine Baker, and she was born in St. Louis, Missouri. She was born Frida Josephine Baker and was a dancer, a singer, and an actress. Baker performed in Paris in attempts to escape racial oppression in the United States and to find freedom. She performed in 1925 while Paris had an affinity for jazz music. Here are some photos. 4 years later, she will perform in Yugoslavia and was the first Black American to do so. So just so you all know, Yugoslavia no longer exists. It has now been broken up into different nations such as Croatia and Montenegro, but it's about 7 different nations today. Josephine passed in 1957 and was known for her banana dance. There's also a movie about Josephine Baker's life if you all are interested in that. So I also had an experience where I was in France. I was in Paris, y'all. I took a picture at the Eiffel Tower and I saw somebody get proposed to at the Eiffel Tower. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being like, so I'm actually doing a proposal today. It's at the Eiffel Tower. It was just incredible. Like the Eiffel Tower was so lit up. It was so beautiful. And to watch a person get proposed to, there's nothing that tops that. I also went to the famous museum and I was able to see the Mona Lisa portrait. So I had some time in France as well. Our next leader is Maya Angelou. And y'all, that's my namesake. I was named after Maya Angelou. Okay. Hey, Maya. Maya was born Marguerite Annie Johnson. And her brother would say, Maya, my sister. And so she got the nickname Maya from her brother. And they were from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Maya is known for her poetry, her plays, and her essays. Unfortunately, Maya's no longer with us and she passed 10 years ago. As for her travels, she lived in Ghana for 3 years with her son, Guy, and that was about around 1963. She continued her writing and activism at the time. She was also there with Malcolm X and many others. Here's a picture. In addition, she got recognized and is on a stamp. Here's a photo of that. Just so that you all know, Ghana continues to welcome back Black Americans. They had the Year of Return in 2019 where they were asking Black Americans to come back to Ghana to get citizenship. So very welcoming place. If you all check out my other video on African adventures, I do talk about Ghana. The mangoes are exceptional. Best mangoes I've ever had. And there's just so much history and culture in Ghana. And I just really had a wonderful time there. So if you all can go, definitely check it out. And one more thing about Maya is she wrote a book that got international acclaim, and it is called I Know Why the Caged Birds Sing. So in this book, it's a memoir. You're going to get a lot of history about Maya's life, who she was, what she did, and you get it from her perspective. So definitely, if you have time, maybe read that book. It is a very, very good book too. Our next leader is going to be Nina Simone. She was born in North Carolina and her name was Eunice Kathleen Wayman. So her name was not Nina. She actually got this from a childhood boyfriend and he called her Nina, which is little girl. And that's how she got Nina. And then the name Simone, her last name, was influenced by a French actress. So that's how she got Nina Simone. So for Nina, she tried to enroll in the Curtis Institute of Music because she is very known as an amazing singer, a pianist, a songwriter, a composer, and an activist. And she was denied admissions in 1950 because of her race. She would go on to pass in 2003. And a few days before her death, she received an honorary degree from the Institute. So during 1970s, Nina visited Liberia. A friend convinced her to go to Liberia, and she spent some years there to seek peace and exchange different ideas. The president of Liberia was President Tubman, and his daughter was nicknamed Coco, and Nina attended Coco's birthday in Liberia. So here are some photos. Now we will talk about our final leader, and that is Bessie Coleman. So Bessie Coleman was born Elizabeth Coleman in Atlanta, Texas. She was the first African and Native American, so African American and Native American, to receive her pilot's license. She became known as Queen Bessie or Brave Bessie due to her dangerous stunts, and risky air shows. Tragically, she was riding in a plane with her agent that spun out of control, crashed, and instantly ended her life. Bessie passed away in 1926. During her life, she was enrolled as a student in the aviation school in France in 1921. And here is a picture. So you all, that concludes our conversation about these 7 amazing, amazing Black women and their contributions to Black history. As you can tell or notice, a lot of times these Black leaders left the U.S. in order to escape racial oppression, in order to do better in another space. So like, for example, Josephine Baker, she really was escaping the oppression. She was not as successful in the U.S. as she was in France. Like, what we know about her life and all of her success and acclaim comes from the performances that she did in France. Maya also was going to Ghana to really talk about like the conflicting identities or the complexities of being African American and having African heritage, right? And like being called back to and wanting to go to the motherland, but also, you know, having family in the U.S. We see when it came to Coretta, Scott King, and MLK, they're going to like have conversations. You know how leaders go abroad and really have conversations with people about the state of the world. So that's really great. People also just lived there for a while. They may not have just visited, but also lived there. We can see like how Angelou was having conversations with, the former leader of Cuba, you know, talking about the revolution and talking about like what we can do to help the world. And then unfortunately, Assata was the only person on this list that was completely exiled from the United States. So these women were so brave. They did so much. They not only contribute a lot in the U.S., but they also were abroad. So that concludes that. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, if you learned something new, why don't you give a like to this video? If you enjoyed the pictures, let me know. Try to incorporate them. So as you all know that we do in all of our videos, now we're going to talk about the comments. Please write in the comments if you learned something new from this video, if you have additional information about these Black leaders that I talked about, if there were other women that you wish I mentioned that you knew have been abroad that were like very prolific during the time, let me know. And I will also be very interested to know what you all are doing for Black History Month. For me specifically, I am creating these videos. Like, to me, this is to pay homage to my ancestors. This is to like learn more about them and what they went through, and to really like validate their struggle for liberation for us all. In terms of our next video, because you all know that that is how I close my videos, we're going to be talking about prolific Black leaders and focusing on men. We have 6 men that we're going to be focusing on. We're going to talk about where they lived or where they traveled abroad. I already gave y'all a little insider information because we already going to mention MLK. There is another, let me motivate you to watch the next video. There is another Black leader, Black male, that was exiled, from the United States, could not come back and end up dying abroad. And I was like, do we even know that? I did not even know that. I know a lot about this leader and had never known that information. So until I went to abroad and I found out, I was like, wait a minute. And then I went straight to Google and I was like, yeah, girl, they right. I said, oh, okay. So definitely, if you're interested in finding out who that is, you should watch the next video, and then seeing some other places that other Black leaders travel or lived abroad. I am really, really looking forward to talking to you all on the next video. Know that this video is near and dear to my heart. I am so happy that I had the opportunity to do this. I want y'all to know dreams can come true, okay? Sometimes you're like, oh man, is this gonna happen? I don't really know. You just gotta be patient. Everything is not gonna happen when you want it to happen, but it doesn't mean that it never will. Thank you to everyone that's watched this video. Don't forget to like it. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And I look so forward to seeing you next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful Black History Month. And let's try to learn something new. We don't have to know all of the information ourselves. We can pass it down. We can pay it forward. So let's share information of Black history, Black leaders, and let's have a wonderful conversation in the chat. All right. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.